This is a short video describing how to install the new MERV 13 filters on the two evaporators of our AC system in our Polaris gems. MERV 13 filters are capable of filtering out 85% of all particles that are 0.3 microns and larger on first pass. So they're pretty effective. So let's meet out at a Polaris gem outside here and we'll get started on the demonstration. I'm here inside of a gym in the passenger area. I've got the right rear door open. I've removed the middle row of seats so I have access to the evaporators. And as you can see, this inverter mounting bracket here provides about a ½ inch of space for this 2-inch filter to fit behind. Since we don't have enough space there, we need to slightly alter the filter. We need to cut some of the paper backing off of it so we can get it to fit in here without deforming the filter too badly. It's an easy little fix, but it's a necessary one. One of the things I want to go over before we get into the installation of the filter is airflow through the filter. As you can see, there is this label on the outside of the filter, and it shows the airflow direction. So on this particular filter, the airflow will be through this face and out this face. So the face with the metal mesh will go up against the evaporators. That's the key point. So if for some reason these labels happen to be removed from these filters, this metal mesh always goes up against the evaporator face. You'll need some tools, not many, but a few tools and supplies to get this project completed. You're going to need some duct tape. That's how we're going to seal this to the evaporators and the filters together. So we're not using a metal frame. We're simply using, in this case, some aluminum backed duct tape. It's made by 3M, and I found this at either Lowe's or Home Depot, so it's easily accessible. We're going to need something to cut the paper backing, just a small little section of the paper backing along the top. So a razor blade, scissors, or in my case, I'm actually using a very small hacksaw to do the cutting through this so I can get nice straight lines and not crush it too badly. You're also going to need a 10mm socket, 10mm wrench, and a standard ordinary flathead screwdriver. I think that's all you're going to need, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to have to do to gain access to the room in front of the area in front of the evaporator that we're going to need access to is to remove these two bolts here on the middle seat bracket so that we can raise up this end of the inverter mounting bracket. Once we've got that up in the air, we can then slide the filter in the area it needs to be. So I'll go ahead and remove the two bolts, raise up this end of the inverter bracket, and show you what I've got at that point. I've got the inverter mounting bracket raised up. You can actually see the two mounting holes here, and I've got it raised up enough so that I could get the filter underneath. Now what we want to do, our objective here is to get this inverter mounting bracket back down to where it was before so that the holes line up with the bolt holes inside of the frame, so we can bolt this inverter mounting bracket back to where it was before. And if we do that without modifying this paper backing at all, it's going to crush the filter and cause it to deform, which will cause it to not work as efficiently. that would not be a good thing. So what we're going to do is we're just simply going to make, once we have it lined up here, the filter properly from side to side, we're going to make a couple of lines on either side of the inverter mounting bracket, and that's where we're going to cut the paper backing away from the filter. Once we do that, the rest is really downhill. So I'll go ahead and use my little saw and cut this portion off, and then I'll show you what I got at that point. Okay, so here is the filter. You can see where I've made 2 linear cuts where my lines were, so that the 3-inch inverter mounting bracket can fit in this area. Now I also had to use the scissors to make small little clips here and on the other side to free up this paper backing. There's a little bit of glue that holds it down to the underlying filter, so you can just peel that away easily with your fingers without disrupting the filter much at all. We want to save as much of the fabric of the filter as we can. And there we go. So I've removed the paper backing where I made my cuts. Now I can simply put this in where it belongs. Now, as you can see, it fits in, and this mounting bracket is capable of moving downwards and not crushing the filter. The fabric gives much better than the paper, and it won't disrupt the efficiency of the filter the way we've got it now. The only thing left to do is to seal around the edges with the aluminum foil tape. What I do is on either side and the bottom, I do some double backing tape rolls. I roll up the tape so that I've got a long section that gives me double back taping, and I place it along this edge, along the bottom, and along this edge, and then I simply seal the filter up against the evaporator at that point. I'll do that and show you what I've got. Along the bottom, you can see that I've got the double back rolled up piece of foil tape. That's the only place that I put that. I put regular sheets of tape along both of the sides. So there's the right side of this evaporator. You can see the tape there folded around the back side. And here's the left side of this evaporator, where you can see the tape has been placed there as well. That's how I can slide the filter in now. I'll wait and simply do the top piece of tape last. So let's go ahead and slide in the filter and get it sealed up. You can see that I've got the filter in place. The cutout has the inverter mounting bracket over the top of it, and I'm now ready to seal down the side pieces of tape. I've got the bottom piece of the bottom portion of the filter pushed firmly against the evaporator, so it's sealed against with that piece of double back piece of tape that I rolled up. Now these sides can simply get sealed up, and of course the top will be last. The corners, bottom edges, top edges, any place where you're deficient on tape and that a crack or crevice is existing, you want to cover that with tape so the whole thing gets sealed up. So I've got the left and right sides sealed up. I'll go ahead and cut a piece of tape for the top and get this inverter back in place. So the reason I use a screwdriver is to pry it between the seat bracket and the inverter bracket so you can get it to pop down like that. Once you've done that, everything should be seated where it needs to be, and you can put in the 2 bolts to secure the inverter bracket where it was before. I'll now be able to get a piece of tape along the top here. Once I do that, the job is completed. The job is now complete except for putting the seats back into the car. You can see that I've got the filter in, I've got the bolts back in, securing the inverter bracket, and I've got plenty of foil tape here sealing around the inverter bracket where I made my cutout in the paper so that no air is entering the evaporator without first going through this filter. That's the important thing. So anywhere you see a deficiency in tape and where air might escape around a corner or into a crack, cover it with the foil tape. That'll be well worth it. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Stay safe.